Hello everyone, and welcome back to Modern Warships. Today I'll be looking at a ship that I got for free from the, what's it called, like daily login thingy. This is the Korean Army's KDDX destroyer. Now, this is from the Republic of Korean Naval Service. So if it's people something, it's generally the communists. That's kind of how you can always distinguish it. No, so Republic of Korea obviously being the South Koreans, whereas People's Republic would be the North Koreans. So this is a South Korean Navy destroyer. This thing, I'm not 100% certain if it actually exists or if it's just in development, but definitely that's a real ship. Now, the South Korean Navy has a particular problem that they're trying to solve and that they are designing their ships for and that they need to work with, because the People's Republic, the North Korean Navy, consists mostly of relatively small craft and missiles, similar to what the Iranians are doing. So it's more of a swarm problem, which means that these things were specifically designed, including the missile setup that I'm not sure if that was actually put onto the ship, but there's a Korean missile, we'll get to that in a minute. These things were more designed to deal with more and smaller targets, and they were also designed to be relatively good at missile defense, which makes it all the more surprising that in the game it is not. So what do we have? We've got two vertical launch systems. So this is VLS. This is not the slanted side-mounted one. This is the actual vertical launch. For cruise missiles, we've got one torpedo launcher that is sitting here. You can kind of see it poking through the hole there. We have one cannon in the front, and we have a single lonely anti-air system. So I've put a phalanx up there. You may as well. Not that it makes an awful lot of difference. And obviously you get a helicopter onto this. So, a destroyer that has absolutely no anti-air. It's a bit of an issue, because that means you can't really defend yourself against missiles very well, which most destroyers tend to have a bit of AA, at least. This thing, not so much. But let's start talking about the missile first. So if we're going to the... Where can I get to the... Where can I get to the darn equipment shop? I keep forgetting. There it is. Okay. This is a relatively recent addition. So the SSM 700K Sea-Star missile does not do an awful lot of damage. So if you compare, it's sort of comparable to the Chinese CJ-20. It's a bit faster and slightly more durable, but this is a small missile. It also has the 2-round burst. So for every missile module you install, you get you fire 2 missiles. And the range, where's the range? There, 8 kilometers base range. Not great. The Chinese have 10 kilometers. So compared to something like a Tomahawk, which has better range and does more damage, it's a relatively short range missile. And once again, this makes sense because that's what they were designed for. These things are more there for dealing with smaller craft. And as such, I put it in there because it's fun. It's fun. It's a fun way of kitting the ship out, because you are going to fire a lot of relatively small missiles. The problem, obviously, that emerges from that is that you have no AA, which means you can't be aggressive in the ship at all. You have to absolutely stay with something in your team that has AA. Carriers will massacre this destroyer because it can't defend itself against them. Any kind of missile ship will massacre this destroyer because it cannot defend itself by itself against them. It is technically a stealth destroyer, which you kind of see on the very boxy, edgy, angled thing. So its radar section is relatively small, but I don't think that matters all that much in terms of game mechanics, because once you're spotted, and if there's a carrier in game, yeah, you will be spotted. So, is this a ship worth getting? Let's play a couple of rounds and find out. We're playing the first battle on Storm, and the very first thing I'm generally doing is looking around and seeing what I'm spawning next to. That's not a carrier. Nope. Maybe not. Maybe carriers, may not be carriers inside. Not sure. But find yourself... Oh, there is a carrier. Okay, it's behind me. So full reverse. A helicopter up. A carrier can do the scouting. So I'm just going to say hi to everybody. Since it's relatively rare that somebody speaks a language I can understand on the Asian server or whatever it is that I'm landing on. So let's get back to next to our carrier and use that for air protection. So we have spotted an Italian, and there's a Kuznetsov. Okay, we can use the torpedoes against the Kuznetsov, and we can use the missiles against the Italian, because the Italian, I think, also does not have the greatest missile defense. And one thing that I find really nice, that I have to say that I really admire about the game, are these small details. Like, if you're looking at the path that these missiles are taking, you're noticing that they're curving. So they are actually, this is a relatively modern missile, they are actually actively evading. And yeah, there you can see the missiles incoming, and there goes your hit points, because you cannot defend yourself against missiles at all. You have to use chaff every single time you are targeted by missiles. That is just the reality of the ship. But the Kuznetsov is spotted. So this is about as far back as I need to get. And now it's just a matter of unloading at that thing. And since he's coming under fire from multiple directions, his AA is probably going to be busy and overwhelmed. But he's dead already anyway. We've got a sort of Corvette or something over there. So that thing also will come under massive air attack. And while it probably has a better AA, we can still launch a bunch of missiles. And like I said, these missiles are fun. These small, because you're shooting, they're not doing an awful lot of damage individually, but you're firing a lot of them. So against targets that don't have the greatest amount of AA, like that Italian thing over there, you can actually do a very reasonable amount of damage. But just don't stray away from your team. You need to have something next to you that has AA. This is absolutely necessary. This is not a frontline tank destroyer. This is a very much baseline, long-range missile spammer. That's what that thing is for. There are some missiles coming in my way, so I am going to have to chaff that, because that's the only way to survive. But I think the enemy team is at this point pretty much collapsed. There's more missiles coming, so I'm going to have to chaff those as well. Otherwise, yeah, you have to use your countermeasures. Your missiles are not. Your missile defense is inadequate. So you're not usually going to end up doing an awful lot of damage, I find, in this ship, just because you have to... You're so very restricted in your movements. But let's do a second round. And this second game is happening on Arctic. I find this was a very, very interesting game, because it really, really highlighted the limitations that you have in this ship. Right, we've got two carriers over there, so that's where I'm going to be. No need for me to heli scout. Enemy team, you probably want to do that on the team message, not on the public chat, if you want to discuss your strategy, but just as a suggestion. So I'm going to head over to our two carriers and just use their AA for my advantage, because as soon as I'm spotted, people know that I don't have any AA, they're going to start unloading at me. So carriers, always good things to sit next to. Alright, there we've got the enemy Kuznetsov spotted. Torpedoes and missiles out. I am spotted, but I'm reversing and backing off between these two carriers, so I should hopefully be... Oh, actually I dunked into one. I should be relatively safe from incoming planes and missiles at this point. But it also means that I can't move away. I can't play in mobile. I can't play on the map. I can't position myself in any other way. So with that frigate in front of it, the Kuznetsov is probably not going to get hit by any missile fire, but yeah, there come enemy planes in, and there come some more planes in the front there. I think these are the Kuznetsov's planes. And he will have to move at some point. I mean, I'm just spamming torpedoes on him. I'm saving my missiles because with a frigate in front of it. But yeah, there come the airplanes, and that is what happens when a carrier is targeting you. Even if you are sitting next to two friendly carriers, expect half your ship being shot off. There's just literally nothing you can do about it. So carriers are absolute nightmares for this thing. I'm just spamming torpedoes at it, and hopefully that I can get something done against the Kuznetsov. One of our carriers is actually both of our carriers are moving forward, and nobody's been sunk yet. So that tells you something. It tells you that they most people in these teams have a bit of an idea what they're doing. So obviously that frigate over there doing air cover for the Kuznetsov is a good idea as well. Kuznetsov is now running low on hit points, so he starts moving off, which means I'm forced to move as well. And they are still spamming me with missiles, both of them, which makes sense obviously, because I am the most vulnerable target, even though I'm sitting next to 2 carriers. The Kuznetsov is about to get behind cover, which means I can no longer shoot at him or launch torpedoes at him. But maybe if I park myself in this gap here, I can at least get some gunshots off. But I think he is going to be surviving that, because again, I can't move to exploit this, right? I can't move to exploit the low health carrier. I am getting shot at and torpedo spammed from the other side. We've lost a frigate, and the enemy team's lost their submarine. Our carriers are reversing again, which means I was a bit too exposed here, and that's why I've been taking so much damage. So there's still a torpedo. Yeah, forget about dodging torpedoes in that thing as well. Okay, there's the enemy Korean, and he's made the cardinal mistake that you don't make in this ship. You do not sail around. You do not sail out alone without air cover, especially not against 2 carriers. So I'm parking behind the carrier and just using them as meat shields. And is this the one who's talking in chat? No, that's not him. And yeah, missiles against that thing are going to be super effective, because while he can chaff them occasionally, these small missiles are reloading very, very fast, and he's just not going to have a good time. So going out like that on your own in a Korean ship is a death sentence. You may as well just not do it. So while we're killing that thing, we have lost one of our destroyers as well, which means it's now once I've taken that torpedo there, because I don't think I can dodge that. I need to rejoin the carriers. I'm relatively low on hit points. I am healing though. So now it's 2 carriers and an AA frigate, I think, of some sorts, versus 2 carriers and a destroyer with no AA. And this is where it gets really interesting, because one of our carriers is moving forward, which is the exact right thing to do. Because what I need is to have somebody with AA to escort me, sort of, into a position where I can do some damage. So both the carrier and me together should be able to do something. So there's the frigate. I'm going to unload on that thing and see if we can get that out of the way. Now the frigate isn't stupid. He isn't just going to sit there on his own with a carrier and a destroyer bearing down on him. So he's moving, and I can't give chase because I will be absolutely massacred by the enemy AA. There's the tail of, I think, the Kuznetsov. I'll see if I can get some shots out of that thing, but no, he's once again hidden. The frigate is moving, but I can't move ahead because there's an enemy airstrike incoming. And note that our second carrier has isolated himself. If he had been coming with us, this would have maybe been a different story, but he's isolated himself. There comes the frigate out, very brave, and I'm not sure what he was trying to achieve because he's also alone, but he's mobile and he has decent AA. So, and he's got obviously air cover from the carrier as well. So while I got him on low health, once again I can't go out there and chase him because there are 3 strike wings hovering overhead and they're going to absolutely destroy me. I have to wait until these strike wings are gone, because yeah, you can see what these things are doing even if you're sailing next to a carrier. So there's the next strike wing incoming with 2 enemy carriers. There's not an awful lot that we can do here. I have to stick next to my friendly carrier just for AA purposes, and that's why I couldn't move. I'm moving forward a little bit, trying to chase down that frigate, because I can totally destroy that frigate. I can overwhelm him easily. I just can't move out because then the carriers are going to murder me. And the frigate has realized that and is going behind the islands. So I need to move ahead a little bit, but my carrier needs to catch up for AA purposes. There come the airstrike wings again. So and yeah, of course they're targeting me because they know that I have very little in terms of defense in that regard. And it takes a little, even with the carrier, it takes a little bit for the seaways to shoot down the enemy planes. Maybe some missile defenses on the carrier would have been better, but well, I don't know. I'm not a carrier expert. So yeah, once again, I can't move. So now that I've recovered my hit points, now I can move again. And Again, note that our other carrier has isolated himself, and that is not a good thing, because I don't have a way of chasing these guys down. Okay, there we've got the Kuznetsov again. So this is about as far as I can go, because obviously the Kuznetsov will unload all his air wings at me, and this thing's got too many, got too much health for me to be able to do an awful lot about it. Now I am launching torpedoes. The frigate is still giving him air cover, and I'm going to back off here again. So my helicopter is getting damaged, and but our second carrier has now died, which is a problem, because that means we need to do something. We've got 2 minutes 27 remaining in this game, and I just can't. I can't go out and do something. The friendly carrier is too far away. I am trying to do damage against the Kuznetsov, but there comes the frigate again. So any kind of missile launch is going to be pointless, and I am going to once again be absolutely massacred from the air. And the frigate has also recovered all its health, so there's no way I'm going to take that thing out on a short notice. And I'm just getting hammered very, very quickly, and trying to use the island to at least evade the torpedoes. There comes the second carrier. Okay, that torpedo came through. But there's the Queen Elizabeth. It's on full health, and I am backing off behind the friendly carrier, but they're focusing me down right now. So there is not an awful lot that I can do in this ship, and that really is the downside of this ship. It is a backline missile slinger that is absolutely incapable of operating on its own, because it will be getting completely murdered. So well played to the enemy team. That was excellent gameplay. These guys definitely knew what they were doing and have played absolutely correctly, and our second carrier has allowed himself to be isolated. So that was a hard-fought battle, but that was very, very well done. And yeah, as you can see, well, there was a division, but that was the Korean, and the Korean has made the cardinal mistake of getting himself isolated, and then these things are dead. Would I recommend the ship? No. I think there are better ships that in that role that you can use if you want to, that have at least a little bit of AA. This thing has very, very little, and does not necessarily really have the firepower to compensate for it. So the nice thing about it is that it has two missile modules on the same slot, so you only need to upgrade once. But it also means that you have to pick the same loadout. But yeah, so that's that thing, and that's it for me today. Thanks everybody, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.